International Raceway, ready for race 7 of the 2026 Porsche Carrera Cup North America. One of the historic American road circuits here at Watkins Glen, and what a day we had yesterday with 40 minutes of action, and we've got another 40 minutes for you today. My name is Peter Mackay. I'll be taking you through all the action alongside Ryan Marine. The fans are packed in, and even some of the furry kind, some marmots running around Watkins Glen, enjoying what is a beautiful facility here. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning, Peter, and it is a breathtaking place. You talk about Watkins Glen, and the history just seeps through the pores here. Racing in this part of the world started back on the streets in 1948, moved to this venue in 1956 in some iconic corners, the inner loop, the chute, the toe of the boot, also the heel of the boot, of course, and great passing opportunities down into turn 1, the inner loop, and turn 8 there, part of that boot section. Great track for racing, and once we got going yesterday, Peter, we really were rewarded with a great race.
That we did, yeah. Quite the battle between Janis Diek and Callum Hedge. The drivers are lined up and ready to go, but let's recap what happened yesterday, because there is so much to catch you up on. Well, it all looked nice and calm running down to turn 1. Pole sitter Tyler Maxson led through, and then it all kicked off behind a rare mistake from Masters champion Scott Blind. Sent him into the side of Alan Metney, spinning many cars around. Rob Walker involved as well, Chris Palomo also, and Marco Cironi a little bit further back, the leader in the Solaris Masters category, having a spin on his own, so it was all arms and elbows on that first lap, and that put us under the safety car behind the Porsche 911 GT3 Pirelli P0 safety car. Alan Metney, a long-time stalwart of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, involved in that incident. But the big story was the championship leader, the race leader, after just 2 laps of green flag running into the pits, a puncture on the front right of his Porsche 911 Cup, putting Maxson on the back foot. He would recover to 9th in Catsby. But Janis Diek, the young superstar from Germany, being put under the greatest pressure by Callum Hedge. It nearly all went wrong at the bus stop chicane, but Stiak showed maturity well beyond his years to close it off and take his first Porsche Carrera Cup North America win. And what better place to do it than the historic concrete and tarmac of Watkins Glen International Raceway. What a place as we warm up for the sailing 6 hours of the Glen. Porsche very well represented here, but 40 minutes on the clock for this 7th race of the season here, and it's Tyler Maxson who takes another pole position, his 4th race crew pole position of the season. He'll be joined by Janis Diek, the pole sitter in Miami. Callum Hedge second yesterday. He'll start from 3rd alongside Aaron Johnson, who did manage to trim some of the points gap to the series leader Tyler Maxson yesterday. Paul Bocuse for Kelly Moss will start from 5th, with Jared Thomas in the JTR Motorsports engineering car in 6th. Cole Kleck and Sabre Cook start on the 4th row, with Alan Metney starting 9th, and Nikita Lastuskin for CCM will start from 10th. John Jodouin, difficult day for him yesterday with damage to the front of his car. He'll start from 11th alongside the pole sitter in Pro-Am, the runaway championship leader in the Solaris Pro-Am category, Patrick Mulcahy, ahead of the runaway championship leader in the Solaris Masters category. That's Marco Cironi. Matt Smith, yesterday's winner in Masters, will join him on the 7th row. Chris Palomo will be hoping for better luck from yesterday after being involved in that accident. He'll start alongside Alain Scalzo. Josh Connolly starts 17th alongside Richard Edge. Then it's John Getz and Kevin Statlander. And big story, Scott Blind having to start on the final row of the grid after picking up a 35-second penalty for incident responsibility. But before we go to green, Ryan, I mean, a great story of Scott's camaraderie and his respect for his competitors.
Yeah, he didn't flee the scene by any stretch of the imagination. He went by every single team that was affected by that incident on lap 1 yesterday, made sure his apologies were known, speaks to his degree of sportsmanship and the level of camaraderie within this paddock.
Yeah, couldn't have put it better myself. Tyler Maxson ready to lead the field away from his race crew. pole position. He's your championship leader in the Mobile Pro class, waiting for that green flag. Yesterday's winner, Janis Stiak, on the outside of the front row. It was an early getaway from Maxen yesterday. He waits a little bit longer today, but finally opens up over 500 horsepower from the Porsche Flat 6, and we're green flag racing here at Watkins Glen as Maxen holds a more defensive line, and here comes Callum Hedge up the inside of Janis Stiak. Can he make it stick through the 90? They all filter through. This was the danger point yesterday, but a little bit more manners today. Side by side for the lead of the race. There's almost contact going through the S's there between Maxen and Stiak, and Johnson up into third. He gets ahead of Hedge, but then Hedge is fighting back as they exit the S's, so lots of position switching, and Hedge immediately goes on the defensive as Johnson struggles to get back that same momentum that he had. But it's Maxen who leads into the chicane from Stiak, from Hedge, and then Johnson's going again on Jared Thomas. They bang wheels again. This is a throwback to their days that they've raced together in the past. Round the outer loop they go, but thrilling opening couple of corners, Ryan Marine.
And thankfully clean so far. Thomas really aggressive there, trying to take the fight to Johnson. Aggressive on the start as he was a day ago, but couldn't get that move made. Maxen survived the challenge from Stiak and now has a pretty healthy lead. The fight is for second place, with Callum Hedge putting the pressure on yesterday's winner.
Although the result didn't go Tyler Maxen's way yesterday, he did manage to pick up a new lap record, so he's now the holder of qualifying and race lap records. As Stiak now under pressure from Hedge. This is a replay from yesterday, surely. Hedge off the road on the exit of the heel of the boot, and has a pretty strong rebuffal there from Janis Stiak, who's not wanting to give best, but dearie me, Tyler Maxen already checking out at the front of the field. So is this going to be a race for second place? Maxen has been dominant as soon as he rolled off the truck in practice, in qualifying. He's been the man to beat, and yesterday rotten luck with the damaged tyre, but today he's looking to set that right and getting his head down early.
Exactly. It took almost an act of God with that puncture yesterday to bring him back to the pack. This is that look again, the outside move from Hedge. I think there was the slightest of touches there as he tried to make the outside move work down there at the exit of the boot section. That sent him out wide up and over the curbing, and Hedge dropped in back into the clutches of Johnson. Stiak having tasted victory yesterday, amazingly, not just his first win, it was also his first podium in Carrera Cup North America. He'll want to stay in the fight here again today, now that he knows what it's like to reap the benefits of victory here in this championship.
Sabra Cook on a great run of momentum after a brilliant run to 6th place yesterday. She's putting Paul Bacchus under pressure right now for 7th position, and right behind her Nikita Lastuskin, one of our rookie drivers, and Alan Metney. I mean, we run out of superlatives for Alan, the most experienced driver in the field in this championship. Would be eligible for the Solaris Masters, judging by his age, but he wants to race in the Mobile Pro class with all these young superstars, and in many races so far this season he is more than held his own. He's just ahead of the Solaris Pro-Am race leader at the moment. That's Patrick Mulcahy, who is on a perfect season. I can't believe we're at race 7 and a perfect season. Every fastest lap, every pole position, and every race win. Remarkable.
Maximum score to this point in the season, not just those wins, but you mentioned having those race brew pole positions. 2 points go along with that, and then the K1 speed fastest lap of the race comes with a bonus point as well, and he has scored every possible point to this juncture in the championship. Remarkable season that Patrick has put on. That's his car 54, the Juicehead sponsorship on the side. Admittedly, the Pro-Am class not the most subscribed of the 3 classes, so Patrick's really shifted his focus to try and see where he can wind up in terms of the overall running order. Right now he finds himself just on the outside of a top 10 overall position, but putting pressure right now on Alan Metney just ahead for that 10th overall spot.
Race control are currently they're reviewing the incident between Callum Hedge and Janis Stiak, battling over 2nd position after that little incident at the heel of the boot. So we'll see what they think of that one once they've had a chance to look at the footage. But Patrick Mulcahy in the Solaris Pro-Am category really marching forward, as is Scott Blind, who's trying to make up for lost time. Of course, he will have a 35-second penalty hanging over him, unfortunately. So, off the road, big incident for the number 53 of Rob Walker for JTR. That will surely bring out the full course yellow. It has. Oh, dear me, a big big crash there for Rob Walker in the number 53. He has got into the spare car today after Herbie the Lovebug was injured in the incident yesterday. And Rob, that is a big incident at the bus stop there, a fast part of the racetrack, and no doubt about it, we will need the Pirelli P0 safety car. The AMR safety crew are on the scene, so that will bunch the field up, and that is not good news for Tyler Maxson, and it's very good news for second place in the championship, Aaron Johnson, because he already lost quite a lot of time to Stiak and Hedge sitting in second, so that will bunch the field right back up.
Yeah, it does. It resets all those fights. Our first thoughts, though, of course, with Rob Walker, second big hit for him in as many days. You mentioned being part of that incident in the lap 1 crash yesterday. That forced him to go to that backup car. It's strange seeing him not in that Herbie the Lovebug livery that we've become familiar with. Good news, he's out of the car, walking to the safety vehicle under his own power. Speaks to the level of safety built into these Porsche 911 Cup cars, as well as the circuit here at Watkins Glen. Great to see him get into that car under his own power. Let's take a look at this again here. He was fighting with Scott Blend, and you have to use a lot of curb here at Watkins Glen to get the lap time, Peter, but it comes with the peril of just getting it slightly wrong, having a major consequence.
A very, very small mistake, you're right, with huge consequences there for Rob Walker. Delighted to see him get out the car under his own steam and walk into the AMR safety vehicle. That Porsche 911 Cup, though, will need some serious repair work from the JTR squad when it gets back to the workshop. I mean, through that part of the racetrack here, these cars now, they're over 100 miles an hour, even at the slowest point through that chicane, braking from 160 miles an hour. So the slightest mistake is punished. This is an old school racetrack. It's why the drivers love it. It's the ultimate challenge, isn't it? It's it kind of has the feeling of a street circuit in places, but the tire wall doing its job as well to absorb the impact there. So all of the field making their way through and taking as wide a berth as possible from the incident area, because of course yesterday, Ryan, it was well, arguably a bit of debris from the incident that cost Tyler Maxson the race.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what the cause, or at least I don't, of the puncture was, but that's certainly a possibility. There was a big debris field with that massive accident in turn 1 yesterday. Just a few more looks at this for poor Rob Walker, and it doesn't get any easier to watch, even in slow motion. That is a huge impact, but that's what the tire bundles are there for. The track has recognized that's a potential outcome, right? If you get it wrong there in the second part of the inner loop, you could end up hitting the barrier, so they've covered it with that tire bundle. Does a great job to absorb so much of the energy. And then again, these Porsche 911 Cup cars are built with safety in mind too, to deflect as much of that energy in a crash away from the driver's seat, and that protects these drivers. Great to see Rob walk away.
Yeah, very, very, very true. Very, very true indeed. So we're under full course yellow then. Go through the order as things stand. Tyler Maxson leading the race from Janis Stiak, ahead of Callum Hedge. Aaron Johnson in 4th. Jared Thomas in 5th for JTR Motorsports Engineering. Cole Clegg, the leader in the rookie category, as he leads that championship as well. He sits in 6th overall. Paul Bacchus in 7th, ahead of Sabre Cook in 8th. Nikita Lasiskin sits in 9th, and Alan Metney holding a position in the top 10. Your leader in the Solaris Pro-Am category is Patrick Mulcahy, and then it's Matt Smith who leads in the Masters, the Solaris Masters category. So he's managed to get past Marco Cironi. So Matt Smith, he's having a superb weekend here at Watkins Glen.
He is, and only debuted back in Miami. That's his home race. First start in the championship was on the podium straight away, and then won in his second start yesterday. That's not an easy feat. Did have a brief moment to catch up with him in the paddock earlier in the weekend, and I'll tell you what, he's been loving this opportunity, loves his ACI Motorsports team, which had a historic day yesterday. We're pretty confident that's the first time in the Carrera Cup era, at least, that a single team has scored the win in all 3 categories in the same race. And Matt Smith was part of that for ACI yesterday, getting his first win and getting the Masters leg of that for ACI a day ago. Kurt Swearingen and his whole team will be very proud of that, of course. But yeah, Matt comes out of Porsche Sprint Challenge, really passionate about going racing. It said it was something he always wanted to do, but never had the opportunity when he was younger, but found the opportunity now, is in a really good spot and absolutely loving being a part of Carrera Cup North America.
Well, the circuit team here at Watkins Glen, the safety team, are doing a superb job getting the barrier repaired. Of course, that big impact has moved the barrier, so it will need to be repaired before we go back racing. So they're definitely earning their Salins hot dog out there in the heat, even at this early point of the day. And this is for Scott Blinn, this is not what he wants, because he's got that penalty hanging over him, and if you're under the safety car, everyone's bunched together, the penalty becomes a lot more damaging to his chances. And this, of course, resets things for Stiak and for Hedge as well, because Tyler Maxson, he was in the groove, he was going, he was absolutely checking out, and he has had a big advantage in pace as soon as the cars rolled out the trucks. And Stiak's only hope to get a double win here. He's got to get on Maxson's case that immediately after the Pirelli P0 pace car pulls away and we go back racing again.
Agreed. Chris Palomo, by the way, has spent a little bit of time in the pit lane here. I don't believe he's dropped a lap, and he's out of the pits well before the safety car train comes around to potentially trap him a lap down. So that's good news there for Chris. Not exactly sure what the issue was. I did see out the window, though, Peter, they were working inside the cockpit of that car. So anyway, whatever the case, it hopefully has been resolved and he can take part and take the fight to the rest of that Solaris Masters class here for the rest of the race today. But talking about Stiak, I think you're exactly right. The restart probably is his best opportunity. Young German driver, super impressive in his career up to this point. Won yesterday, part of that junior program for Porsche Motorsport North America. Already a Carrera Cup champion in the Middle East Championship 1 year ago. Won 7 races and was on the podium 10 times in that series, alongside of a campaign in Super Cup where he was second in the Rookie Championship. He was 6th in Carrera Cup Germany, so he comes with a great pedigree. But he's learning a new car, of course, the new car this year, new tire, new tracks, new style of racing, no standing starts, for instance, here in North America. That's something that's different from a lot of the other single-make Porsche championships globally. I think he's done a pretty good job and never really got to showcase just how quick he's been with his results for various reasons. Yesterday finally was the day where his quality was able to shine through and he got that first win.
And it was no cakewalk. He was put under pressure the whole race by Callum Hedge, another newcomer to the series who's really, on a full-time basis anyway, who's really impressed. But what I love about this championship, when you look at the previous champions in the Mobile Pro class, there's 2 things that stand out to me. One is that since 2021, since the inception of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, the winner has come from a different country every year. So we've had the United Kingdom, Canada, America, the Netherlands and New Zealand. And many of those drivers have gone on to become factory drivers. I mean, Seb Prio has gone on to become a factory sports car driver with another brand, and Luke Hartog will be lining up in the Manthey Grello car tomorrow in the Salins 6 Hours of the Glen. So, you know, this is a place that many international drivers are identifying, and, you know, they want to be at the wheel of a Porsche in the IMSA WeatherTech Championship, and there's no greater shop window, I believe, for that, because all the team owners are here. They're all watching.
Exactly. I've heard so many young drivers, whether they're active in this series now or have come through it in the past, and when asked, why do you come and race in Carrera Cup North America when you could race in your own domestic championship or pick your strong championship in Europe or Asia? And a lot of it is, well, I see an opportunity to come and make a career stateside. The WeatherTech Championships, where everyone wants to be when you're talking about sports car racing in the U.S. And this is a great place to get the attention of the team owners who are here. They are watching. Other manufacturers are watching. So even if there's not space in the Porsche lineup, so many of these graduates have gone on to big things with other brands. And you know what? One thing I applaud Porsche for is they always take a lot of pride in that. It's not always possible for a driver to run their entire career with a single brand, and Porsche recognizes this, and it's still a feather in the cap to see graduates have success, even if they do have to do so outside of the fold.
And of course, you look at the teams here, you look at a team like Kelly Moss, they run several programs in other sports car series as well at the GT3 level. So, you know, you've got opportunity to GMG as well would be another good example of if you perform well in their Carrera Cup cars, then there might be opportunities that open up in the GT3 world of things. So yeah, it's a proven way, and always exciting for us to see who are the new cast of drivers who come to take part in this championship every year, all trying to make their way through. Lots of fans here already. Well, great to see so many young fans as well, studying the program, seeing who all the drivers are, who to follow, and so many great stories here. The drivers still behind the Pirelli P0 pace car, trying to keep the temperature and pressure in those Pirelli tyres. Not easy at all behind the safety car, but feel weaving back and forward. And you look at the drivers who have won Carrera Cups in the past, and it's like a who's who of the Porsche Hall of Fame. Jörg Bergmeister, Timo Bernhard, Mark Lieb, Mike Rockenfeller, Nick Tandy, Matt Campbell, Julian Andlauer, Matt Jamini, Lauren Heinrich, Thomas Preining, Harry King, etc. What do they all have in common? They've all won Carrera Cups, and they've all had pretty good careers. Some towards the end of the career, and some just getting started. Well, nearly at half race distance already, Ryan, but feels like we're still in a state of flux here, unfortunately, as the track repairs go on. Yeah,
we're behind that Pirelli P0 safety car because of a single car incident. If you're just joining us, Rob Walker coming through the inner loop had a miscue there at the exit of that inner loop, hit the tire bundle in a big way, and left a lot of debris on track, also necessitated the crew around the track taking a look at that tire bundle to make sure everything's good to go before we get the race restarted. And it has been a rather lengthy yellow flag here, unfortunately. A guy who's chomping at the bit, getting ready to restart this race is Jared Thomas. Finds himself in 5th right now. I think Jared came in with championship aspirations this year, ran a partial program a year ago, had some decent results, broke through for his first career podium back at the season opener at Sebring, and he was on the podium again in Miami, but finds himself coming into the weekend 4th in points, 51 points back, and has made a few inroads, but not a ton, just 49 points as they run, or at least coming into this race, out of the championship lead. Impressive young guy, though, engineering background, a great racing driver, but also runs this operation, which has been so successful at multiple single-make levels.
It's amazing as well how much of a step Jared has made with the new car too, with the new 911 Cup. Really big improvement on last year, which was a solid season, but now very much a front runner, straight out of the gate, 2nd place at Sebring in the very first race of the season. And I love the livery on the car as well, the red and white kind of chevron pattern, which of course was displayed on many race cars over the years, but does have a Porsche connection. Was on the tag engine McLarens in the 1980s, the turbo McLarens, and of course the tag engine was designed and developed by Porsche. Lights out on the Porsche 911 GT3 pace car, the Pirelli P0 pace car. So we're ready to go back racing with just over 21 minutes left on the clock. So it's a sprint for honours here on this beautiful Saturday morning at Watkins Glen International Raceway. And Tyler Maxson, well, if he can match the pace he had prior to the safety car coming out, he's going to be very hard to stop. But there's an opportunity for Stiach to try and pounce, try and ambush the championship leader, who of course was so unlucky yesterday. Couldn't believe it when he pulled into the pit lane. Damaged tyre, the culprit there. Drivers weaving back and forward, just trying to generate any temperature and pressure they can on the power, on the brakes, on the power, on the brakes, trying to get some heat through the brake disc into the wheel and then into the tyre. Getting ready for action in a single file formation on this restart. Maxson from Stiach, from Hedge, from Johnson, from Thomas, They break formation ever so slightly in the mid-pack before going back. Now Maxon on the restart yesterday got the power down early. What's he going to do this time as he comes around turn 10? He gasses it up pretty early again through turn 11 and back to green flag racing we go then. Maxon leads in the top racing at number 77 as we go back to green flag again. Just over 20 minutes to go here in race 7 of the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Penfred Credit Union. Down to 90 they go as Johnson has a little look on the third place car of Callum Hedge, but can't quite get it done and actually loses a little bit of momentum. And here comes Jared Thomas side by side for 4th position, and Jared Thomas goes through on Aaron Johnson, or does he? Johnson trying to tough it out around the outside as best as they possibly can. Out of the S as they go at over 150 miles an hour. They're going to go 3 wide, they are, because here comes Cole Clegg, who's nearly on the grass. Thomas in the middle, Johnson on the outside, and Jared Thomas goes very late on the brakes then and pinches the position. Meanwhile, whoa, big slide for Paul Bocuse in 6th. He hangs on to it as well, but Johnson loses a position off the restart there, and Thomas goes up into 4th.
Oh, how close do you like it? Nip and tuck there further back, but how about the top 3? Maxon sprinting away. Stiak under a ton of pressure, as he was for much of the race yesterday from Callum Hedge. The difference is today, this is for 2nd and 3rd. Yesterday, it was for the win. Everyone chasing Tyler Maxon as they have all weekend long, barring that puncture yesterday.
Maxon getting his head down early. He has the K1 speed, fastest lap of the race at 147.765 today. Actually, well underneath the lap record, so he enhances his lap record that he already took yesterday. So putting those bonus points on the board, which really matter with the number of races that we have over the season. If you can keep picking up those fastest laps and those race group pole positions, they all count very, very importantly indeed. And well, it is a bit of an action replay from yesterday with Stiak trying to hold off Hedge, but for 2nd position rather than the win. And already Maxon has opened up the gap to nearly 1.7 seconds straight away. 147.8 last time by for the man from Georgia, and 149.1 for Stiak, 149.2 for Hedge, 149.8 for Jared Thomas. So Maxon already in his own Premier League.
Well, you bring up a great point about those bonus points, Peter, and that did a lot to cushion the blow for Maxon yesterday with the miscue, or really the misfortune that he had with the puncture that brought him to the pit lane. To be able to get the maximum points in terms of bonus points, both pole positions, and he's on his way to perhaps getting both of the K1 speed fastest race lap bonus points as well. That's massive in this championship. There's not a huge gap between, let's say, 1st and 2nd in terms of the way that the points are played out, so your opportunities are limited to make up ground. If you can start to put these bonus points into the picture as well, already with a hefty championship lead, that goes a long way to stabilizing that lead, even when things don't quite go according to plan.
It was, and I think it's a psychological blow as well, as saying that I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, I might have the, might have been a piece of misfortune, but it's a reminder to the rest of the field saying I'm still the benchmark this weekend, and he's stamping that home at the moment with just over 16 minutes to go. Comfortably the fastest driver on circuit. The nearest driver is Callum Hedge, 0.4 of a second, his best away from Maxon, and Maxon just pulling away nearly 2 seconds. The gap now as he approaches the end of this lap is going to be over 2 seconds surely as he comes over the line now in the top racing number 77 car. It is 2.2 seconds now the gap for Tyler Maxon. And this is important for the team's championship as well, because Top Racing came into this round with just a slender advantage over Kelly Moss, but yesterday that gap was reduced to just 1 point between Top Racing and Kelly Moss. But Maxon for Top Racing at the moment in a position to extend that gap out again.
And that is the defending champions in the team's championship, Top Racing. They helped Ryan Yardley to the driver's title a year ago, and looking to make it back-to-back here as Maxon really has stepped his game up in his 2nd year in the championship. 3 wins already this season. He's been racking up the poles in fast laps as well. He's been outstanding, and he's leaving this pretty good fight in the rearview mirror. This has been really fun yesterday, and it's repeating itself today. Stiak has the track position. It does seem like Hedge might have the pace advantage, and don't look now, but here comes Jared Thomas, Peter. He's closing in slowly but surely on the battle for second and third.
And Jared Thomas, we know, loves to get into a scrap at the end of a race. When there's big points on offer, time and time again in his racing career, he's been able to win in hand-to-hand combat. And you're right, he's getting closer and is bridging the gap away from Aaron Johnson and up towards Callum Hedge. And he'll be looking to try and score his third podium of the year. Came very close to a podium yesterday, fourth place yesterday in this season for Jared Thomas. But Stiak, I have to say, I'm so impressed with the weekend he's put together. The win yesterday, and I mean, nobody's able to put a glove on Tyler Maxson at the moment, but Stiak, I mean, he's spent the entire weekend with Callum Hedge on his bumper.
He sure has, and he's not cracked once. It's been really impressive. There was a moment yesterday late in the race where he had a little wiggle, didn't he, through the inner loop coming up here in this next section of the racetrack, and it seemed like maybe that was Hedge's chance. But to Stiak's credit, he was able to catch the slide, correct that loose moment, and then positioned his car beautifully so as not to give Hedge a chance to get around. It was right through this part of the track right here where Stiak looked vulnerable, but didn't crack under the pressure.
Yeah, a huge moment yesterday coming through the bus stop for Stiak, and had big dabs of lock in both directions to get the car back under control, and he did so. But Hedge is keeping that pressure on, and you know, the pressure can only be resisted for so long, and Hedge is right on the case. And is he able to put together a move? Because if he is, that could potentially bring Jared Thomas into the mix then, so it could make it a three-way fight for second position. Maxson, he's checking out up the road. He's 3.2 seconds ahead now, so just over 30 minutes between him and yet another win this season. Be his fourth win of the season in this Porsche Carrera Cup North America 2026 campaign. And it, of course, came into this championship last year as a rookie and found his feet in the first half of the season, and then started to put the results on the board in the second half. Along with Aaron Johnson, we saw them have some great battles through the second part of the season, but has really taken that momentum through the winter and into this new season with new car, new tyre package. And that was a big question mark as well, Brian, who was going to get on top of this new package, because it is very different to the previous car.
Absolutely, and all the drivers that raced a year ago will be the first to admit it. In some respects, it's probably a good season to be a rookie because you don't have preconceived notions about the way that you expect your Carrera Cup car to handle with so many changes to not just the car but the tire from year to year. We do have an interesting message from race control here that could throw a wrinkle into that battle for second, third, and fourth. We've got an incident under review. One of the cars involved is Jared Thomas, who runs in fourth place. The other is Cole Kleck. I'm not sure that we saw that, or if we did, I can't recall what exactly that incident might have been. That's not been ruled on just yet, but that is something we have to keep in mind, especially as it relates to Thomas and Kleck.
My guess would be when they went three wide on the run up towards the bus stop, and Cole Kleck had two wheels on the grass, and the next car beside him at that point was Jared Thomas. That would be the only incident I could think of anyway that would need to be under any kind of review. Yeah, definitely one little bit of a potential threat hanging over, but Jared, he'll be blissfully unaware of that, I would imagine. I doubt his race engineer will be telling him on the radio. I think he'll just have his head right down now, and he is closing this gap in, I'm pretty sure, to Stiak and Hedge ahead of him. Really, the body language of the car looking determined. He's really hustling this number 96 red and white JTR machine. Just over 11 minutes to go then. Tyler Maxson leads by 3.8 seconds from Janis Stiak, who in turn has 0.6 of a second behind him to Callum Hedge. Then it's Jared Thomas and Aaron Johnson in fifth. Cole Kleck in sixth, the leading rookie, ahead of Paul Bocuse Sabre Cook and Nikita Lastiskin in ninth. Alan Metney rounds out the top 10 in the Solaris Pro-Am category. It's Patrick Mulcahy who leads there once again, and Matt Smith leading in the Masters category. Marco Cironi, your championship leader there, he's in second ahead of Scott Blind, his nearest contender in that title chase. And of course, Ryan, Scott Blind with that 35-second penalty, it's going to be another big gain for Cironi if things stay as they are.
I agree exactly with that assessment. I think Cironi can be reasonably content. Of course, he'd prefer to win the race, but at least the driver that's ahead of him is not a driver that's contested the entire season in Matt Smith, so he's unlikely to be a championship challenger. And he's running ahead of Blind and knows that Blind will be taking that penalty post-race and is likely to drop down the order significantly. So this could be a pretty good day in that Solaris Aviation Masters Class Championship run for the likes of Marco Cironi if it finishes as they run. Here is the penalty: failure to leave room. That is headed Jared Thomas's way. This, I think, does go back to that incident where Kleck was 2 wheels off and race control has deemed Thomas the guilty party in this. Let's take a look at this here again. Just squeezes him down a little bit to the right-hand side of the screen, and race control didn't like what they saw. 10 seconds will be added to Thomas's time post-race.
Yeah, on reflection, I think that's actually a fair call, because there was no room there, and yeah, nowhere for Cole Kleck to go. There was room, then all of a sudden there wasn't. So yeah, I do think that's a fair call. And you know, at that point of the racetrack, you're approaching 160 miles an hour heading up towards the bus stop. So it's really, really fast through there. When you get, I mean, you come out the top of the S's like you're getting fired out of a cannon. It's so fast through there. So, and there is very, very little grass between the track and the wall. So understandably, race control are laying down the law there. They're also laying down the law on track limits. They've just given Cole Kleck multiple track limits, final warning. So one more and he will pick up a penalty there. 8.5 minutes to go, and Janis Stiak is under pressure from Callum Hedge. I feel like I should just have like a hotkey for that, because that's going to be the story all weekend long. Hedge trying to make young Janis Stiak make a mistake, but he's unbreakable.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? I think Callum Hedge is going to go to sleep, and when he closes his eyes, he'll still have the back of that Scooter's Coffee car imprinted on the back of his eyelids. He's just been staring at this for the better part of 2 races now. You know, it's got to be frustrating. He's had a night to think about the way the battle played out yesterday, maybe plan a line of attack here for race number 2, and yet Stiak's not giving him the opportunity to slip on by. Give Stiak all kinds of credit. I do think Hedge is a little bit quicker, but as we say so many times, to catch somebody is one thing, to pass is something completely different, and it does seem like, barring a miscue from Stiak, he's got enough pace in that number 40 car to stay ahead in this fight for second and third.
I think Callum Hedge will be, when he's on the way to the airport to head home, he'll see nothing but Scooter Coffee outlets and think, oh. I'd go, well, actually, yeah, I could go a coffee, actually. And meanwhile, Stiak will be looking in his mirror saying, maybe after this hot day in the car, maybe I'll need a Race Brew 0.0 beer, because that's what's on the hood of Callum Hedge's car. A little bit further back, in Paul Bocuse for Kelly Moss, trying to hold off Nikita Lastiskin, the rookie driver. And Lastiskin just finding his feet this year in the CSM entered machine. He's raced in single-seater categories before, in Indy Lights, etc. I'm showing my age now. Indy Next, but I think it might have been Indy Lights still in those days when he competed. Yes, thank you, Ryan. That's made me feel better. So historically accurate, it was Indy Lights when he was competing there. And Paul Bocuse, the young driver for that number 71 machine, trying to hold him off. And Alan Metney at the other end of the experience scale, very, very experienced in this championship in the iFly black and silver machine. A driver who's worked so hard at his craft over the years and has 2 Porsche Carrera Cup North America Pro-Am titles to his name for the effort.
It's an interesting contrast in experience levels just between these three drivers. So Bocuse just graduated from high school just before or right around the Miami race earlier this year. He's been doing a little GT4 racing in a Cayman this year too, by the way, so getting some additional seat time. But then in between, Lastishkin, who is not an old man by any stretch of the imagination, but Paul Bocuse at his young age, just 18, he'll make you feel make you feel old pretty quick standing next to him. And so Nikita kind of in the middle and brings a wealth of racing experience to this. And then Metney, who's been around this game for such a long time, as you talked about, raced at a high level in single-make Porsche competition going back to the predecessor of this championship. Before it was a Carrera Cup. And really interesting that the three, despite their varied backgrounds, varied age, they find themselves on the track pretty equally matched.
I love it. I love it. That's what this championship is all about. So many different drivers with different goals, different aims of what they want to get out of their race season, all racing hard together on track. Here comes Lastishkin then. He's going to try and make a move on Bocuse at the bus stop. Can he make it through? There's not much room. Bocuse bounces over the curbs and Metney says, oh, maybe I can pick up the scraps here, but not quite. So Lastishkin goes through then into 8th position. Great move there from the CSM Reece Nichols driver.
Yeah, fantastic move there. Great job by Nikita and that CSM team too. This is new for them to some degree, and running as a single car operation has its limitations, but Nikita brings so much experience, can help drive that program forward, and showed that experience there, looking for the opportune moment to strike, and was able to make that move. Back to the fight toward the front again. This is all 5 seconds behind the race leader, Tyler Maxson, who is on cruise control with just over 4 minutes to go. But Stiak still fighting for all he's worth to keep Callum Hedge in arrears, and then Jared Thomas, who's carrying that penalty. Even if he can't get to these two, he still needs to be putting his head down, trying to put in fast laps here, Peter, to try and mitigate the damage of that 10-second penalty that he's carrying for crowding Cole Kleck earlier in the race.
That's all he can do. Yeah, keep the head down and just really hope that we don't end under the Pirelli P0 pace car, because then he is in real trouble, because it will bunch the field together. So yeah, it's all Thomas can do really is just keep pushing on. You never know. You never know what can happen ahead. Stiak, what an impressive young driver, holding off Hedge, but Tyler Maxson absolutely imperious at the front of the field, 5.5 seconds up the road. Meanwhile, Scott Blind has a move there on the one of the Pro Class cars. That's Sean Joe Twain in the dark blue Imperial car. So Blind trying also to make as many moves forward as he can with that penalty hanging over him as well. And of course, with that post-race penalty, Marco Cironi will move up into 2nd position in the Solaris Masters in this race. Good weekend for him. And you could argue that he got away with one big time yesterday. On one hand, his rivals being involved in that wreck, but also had his own spin a couple of car lengths further back, backed it into the wall, but actually was able to continue and book some points. So it could have been a lot worse for Cironi. He'll definitely be going to the airport tonight thinking, oh yeah, that went pretty well actually, all told.
No, he salvaged something, that's for sure, and was fortunate to do so. Remember, the top 4 in points all involved in that, and Cironi was the only one that was able to salvage a decent finish, came home fit. That was worth 12 points, and also put in the K1 fastest lap and got the bonus point for that. So 13 points scored on a day when his nearest championship rivals failed to see the finish. That actually turned into a decent day in the championship, despite ending up in the wall in the first turn of the race.
Tyler Maxson speeds through Sector 1, through the S's, a part of the racetrack where he has been imperious over the rest of the field, up the hill towards the bus stop chicane. And this is a big statement for the rest of the championship, because, you know, as we head to the rest of the season, Road America, particularly Road America, I would say there are a lot of parts of Road America which have a similar kind of high-speed flow to Watkins Glen, a lot of elevation change, etc. You would expect Tyler Maxson to bring this performance to Road America, which is definitely a worrying thought for the rest of his rivals.
Yeah, no question about that. The way that he's been able to stamp his authority on the weekend to this point sets the tone, doesn't it? And even when he had a bad day yesterday, still was able to get the points for poles, point for fast lap. He looks like he's on track to do that yet again, and it's pretty quickly you can build a lead in this championship that's maybe not mathematically insurmountable, but again, you look at the way the points are paid out, it's only a 5-point difference between first and second. So even if his rivals, Johnson and Hedge and Thomas, even if they're winning, if Maxon can run second or third, he's really not losing that many points on a day like that, and that's really the ticket to winning a championship here, is just not having a terrible day and having a bunch of good days, and then when things break your way, you have a chance to go get a win.
Yeah, it's keeping the DNFs off the card, isn't it? That's the big thing. And he did that yesterday. We could, spotted that there was the issue that he would have had a warning on the dash, got the car back into the pit safely, and then drove very well, firmly, aggressively, but controlled as well to get as many points as possible. So that could have been the race yesterday where Maxon, when he looked back at the end of the season, where he got the championship in the bag. White flag in the air then. We're on to the last lap here at Watkins Glen, the second of 2 races here in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America at this iconic American sports car circuit, when, all of us Europeans, when we swoon over the beautiful racetracks in North America, it's places like this that get talked about. Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Road America, and they've got Sebring. They've all got something in common. They're all on the calendar of this series, which makes it a real pleasure to follow. Maxon now into the latter part of the racetrack. He's got 6 seconds behind him. This has been a masterclass from a driver who's so experienced in motorsport but still relatively young in age, and this is a big advert for him for the future. Another win here on the board in the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. It will be his 4th of the season. Tyler Maxon is the master here at Watkins Glen. Brilliant job from the top racing driver. He goes to the pit wall as the team cheer him on. Brilliant stuff from Tyler Maxon. Janis Stiak will hold off Callum Hedge for second position, so it's a big chunk of points for Stiak and indeed for Hedge. Johnson comes home in 4th after the post-race penalty for Jared Thomas. Cole Kleck will move up to 5th, and Jared Thomas pushed back to 6th, Ryan, with that penalty, that 10-second penalty. But here comes Patrick Mulcahy. It's going to be another perfect weekend for the number 54 Juicehead driver. It's a win again for Mulcahy for ACI. And can he keep that sweep going? Just remarkable stuff. Then in the Masters category, it's a race to the line. Matt Smith, is he going to hang on? Yes, just by a wheel length from Scott Blind, who of course has that penalty to consider. But what a drive from Matt Smith. It's a double here at Watkins Glen. What a performance.
And actually, it's not as bad for Blind as we thought. I just got confirmation of this, Peter, but he had a choice. He could take that post-race time penalty or choose to start at the back. He started at the back, so that second place, as I understand it, should hold. That was actually almost a change for the lead there and the win on the final lap.
Aha, okay, well that's good news for Scott Blind then, and allows him to score some points and close the gap down a little bit to Marco Cironi. He came into this race 39 points behind, so his defense of the Solaris Masters Championship still very much alive. But Matt Smith, I mean, if he can keep this form up, he started a little bit behind, hasn't done every round, but if he does every round from now to the end, well, there could be more twists in the tail in the Solaris Masters category. But in the Mobile Pro class, Tyler Maxon utterly dominant in the number 77 top racing entry, and boy, that has got to feel good after the agony of yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. So frustrating to know you've got a car that can win the race, a car, frankly, that could dominate the race, as was proved here today, and through no fault of his own, ended up on the back foot, but today came back, sent a message to the rest of the field that he is the man to beat in this championship heading into the second half of the season.
that message is definitely clear. Tyler Maxson, your winner then by 6.6 seconds from Janis Stiak. A win and a second place for him. Callum Hedge, another couple of podiums taken away from Watkins Glen. Aaron Johnson will finish 4th. He'll want to get more than that in the second half of the season, and he knows he's got that speed underneath him. Cole Clegg, a great weekend here in Watkins Glen, finishes in 5th in race 2. Jared Thomas, a 10-second penalty, pushing him back down the order there. In the Pro-Am category, Patrick Mulcahy, your winner once again, and Matt Smith does the double for ACI Motorsports. ACI taking home 5 winners' trophies from the 2 races, nearly doing a total sweep of the whole weekend. What a weekend it's been for that crew. Scott Blinn puts his Masters Championship defence back on course with a 2nd place finish. Unfortunately, Rob Walker not making it to the end after a big incident at the bus stop chicane. A weekend to forget. Well, Ryan, final thoughts before we head away and put our sights towards Road America.
Huge day in the championship for Maxson, scores all the possible bonus points across the weekend, gets the win today. It's now a 37-point lead in the championship over both Janson and Hedge. They're tied 37 points back, and Stiak with a couple good results. He jumps to 5th in points, having come into the weekend in 6th. So really good weekend for the young German.
Huge weekend here in the context of the championship. Didn't go Tyler Maxson's way yesterday, but boy has it done so today. We head to Road America next. It will be hot at the beginning of August. Cannot wait for that one at the National Park of Speed. And Tyler Maxson will go in as the runaway championship leader. 37 points in hand. Has he got one hand on the trophy? Oh, you can never say that at this stage of the season. It's always a joy to come to Watkins Glen. Such a challenge here. Caught a few drivers out, but always a highlight of the season. We head to Road America at the beginning of August. Be sure to join us then. Goodbye for now.